The great warrior Bermute and his 4 comrades headed toward the demonic city of Helmud to slay a demonic king. They've killed 3 of the 5 demonic kings, and only 2 remain now. My magic can handle this many easily. I shall bless all of you. Skria. Hiya. Bermute, you bastard. I told you not to go ahead of me. Get out of the way. HMPH. Hamel was always jealous of Bermute. Although Hamel claimed Bermute was his rival, no one else thought the same. It seems that we've pretty much slaughtered all the underlings Bermute. Q. You didn't have to die like this, it's honorable enough for me. In his final dying moment, Hamel regretted not being honest with his comrades in the past. Bermute. Promise me you'll defeat the demon kings. I swear upon my name as a warrior, I shall slay every single one of those demon kings. Annis. Please pray for my soul. Marone, you're the bravest warrior I know. And Senya, to be honest, I've always liked. Why no, I didn't. I never said that. Every time I read this, it pisses me off. What kind of goddamn bastard wrote this storybook? Tremble shake if I knew the author. I would beat the sh*t out of them right now. And why is everyone else called the great, the wise, the pious, the valiant? But I'm the foolish. Hamel the foolish. Ha. Was this written by some scumbag I beat up 300 years ago? I'd like to ask those 4. Bermute, Senya, Annis, and Marone. Why didn't they do something about this stupid storybook? Didn't it cross their minds to protect their comrades' honor? Although, it's not like they would have ever imagined that I would reincarnate with the memories of my former life. I was Hamel and lost my life while trying to kill a demon king 3 centuries ago. And, I've reincarnated as a descendant of the great warrior Bermute, Eugene Lionheart. Age 13. Outside his marriage to his lawful wife, Bermute had several mistresses in his lifetime. He wasn't a womanizer. What made him change over the years? Tight, I guess even he's human. Only the offspring of Bermute's lawful wife are recognized as his direct descendants. Direct descendants, distant relatives. So even though Eugene's family has the Lionheart surname, they are considered distant relatives. Distant relatives are forbidden from training with real swords and mana before the blood confirmation. That's why I've been training with wooden swords. But today will be the last day I use this. You've destroyed another dummy. Father. How is that the body of a 13-year-old? Twitch. I would honestly lose if I fought him unarmed. Although Eugene is my son, he's intimidating. He doesn't speak or act like a child. There's no trace of innocence in those fierce eyes. Even though he lost his mother at a young age, he's never once said he misses her. The village blacksmith's skills are trash. I can't believe he sells such shoddy pieces of junk like this for money. You're too generous, father. If I were you, I'd teach that scammer a lesson by beating the sh*t out of him. Ahem. I'll be sure to give him a warning. That reminds me, tomorrow's the blood confirmation. The blood confirmation is a screwed up tradition in House Lionheart that's held every 10 years. Both direct and distant descendants aged 10 through 15 come together at Lionheart Manor where the main family members live. That's where they compete to see who is most worthy of the Lionheart name. But unlike distant relatives, the direct descendants have been allowed to train with real weapons and mana before the blood confirmation. I mean, it's obvious what they're doing. They want to make sure the distant relatives don't outperform the direct descendants by keeping them in check. Eugene is so exceptional that it's hard to believe he's my son. If only he'd been born into the main family. No, if he'd taken after me and weren't this talented, he wouldn't have to feel the difference between his gifts and reality. Father, what's wrong? No, it's nothing. Nothing, my *SS. I bet he's blaming himself again for not being a good enough father. Eugene. Promise me you won't compete with the children from the main family. However gifted you may be, you won't stand a chance against them. Since they've trained with real swords and mana from when they were young. Alright, father. Raise **t. Does he seriously want me to compete with a bunch of 10-year-olds? That would bore me to death. For this year's blood confirmation, there will be 3 children from the main family. Step. And 6 distant relatives. One of the 3 from the main family is the son of the first wife, and the other 2 are the mistress's twins. There are also 2 distant relatives from high-ranking families. And the rest are just losers. Let's see just how amazing the descendants of Bermute the Great are. When I was Hamel in my past life, I always thought I was a prodigy. Ever since I was a child, I didn't find it hard to pick up new skills. My abilities also improved relatively faster than others. However, what, you bastard? What, you bastard? What did you say just now? I said it's a shame. You could have been a lot stronger if you'd put in a little more effort. Hey, can't you see that I'm giving it my all swinging this sword? I'm already putting in enough effort. Don't think that others can do what a genius like you can. It turned out that I wasn't a prodigy. Someone else was. It was the one adept in both swordsmanship and magic, known as the God of Combat and the Allmaster. Bermute the Great. He was originally a duke in his homeland, the Kiel Empire, but he later retired from his post. He was lauded as a warrior up until the day he died, and as for the others, Senya the Wise was invited to the magic kingdom of Aroth and became the youngest person to become master of the magic tower. Annas the Pious was hailed as a saint in the Holy Empire Uras. There's even a sacred book of her teachings. Marone the Valiant unbelievably established a kingdom named after his idiotic name. In the end, they all had good lives till their deaths, so why the hell is a demon king still alive? He clearly promised to defeat all the demon kings. Bermute, that goddamn bastard. I died in the castle of the demon king of incarceration. Apparently, Bermute made a pact with the demon king of incarceration after I died. The war against the demon kings ended because of that, and peace was restored to the world. And that peace still continues to this day 300 years later. You seem nervous. Life at Lionheart Manor will be difficult if you're already on edge. Mr. Eugene. I appreciate your advice, Sir Gordon. The Lionheart estate is from this point on. Ah, don't worry. We're not getting off now. It's still a long way until we reach Lionheart Manor. What are you so smug about if it's not even your property? Isn't it inconvenient to travel around when the estate's this large? There are warp gates installed across the area, so it's no problem at all. Really? Why am I riding a carriage, then? Well, that's because you haven't received permission to use the warp gates. Welcome to Lionheart Manor, Mr. Eugene. Of course. There's no way I'd get a welcome party. Bermute Lionheart's crest of a lion can only be worn on the left side of the chest. Grip. Of direct descendants. Have any other relatives arrived yet? It seems that you're the first, Mr. Eugene. Well, then allow me to escort you to the guest house. My name is Nina. I'll be attending to all your needs during your stay here at Lionheart Manor, Mr. Eugene. If you need anything, please ring this bell. At least they gave me a personal maid. You look young. How old are you? I'm 16. I've just finished my training period. So they've assigned me a maid who just completed her training, huh? A novice maid is more likely to make a mistake, so they probably want me to take issue with her performance. I'm not sure whose idea this was, but they're clearly trying to bother me. Do you know when the other relatives will be arriving? They should all be here within the next 4 days. Show me to the training grounds. Huh. Oh, yes, sir. What was his name again? Eugene. He's the same age as us. I heard he's from a small rural town at the west end of the empire. So I bet he's more used to holding a rake than a wooden sword. The carriage that bastard came in must reek of cow manure. Even if he is our relative, shouldn't he take responsibility for sullying the main family's property? You're absolutely right. Let's go give him a good scolding. We're not scolding him. We're warning him. That's all. Come on, CL. That's so nice of you. Even though I didn't neglect my training in my past life as Hamel. I've been training my body especially hard since my reincarnation. But no matter how hard I pushed my body, I never got sick, and most of my injuries healed fairly quickly. After reincarnating as Bermute's descendant, the power my new body has is beyond imagination. Incredible. He moves so swiftly even with sandbags attached to his arms and spear. Hey. What's he doing? Mr. Cyan, Ms. CL. What brings you here? I just asked you. What the hell is he doing? Can't you tell? I'm swinging my spear, you idiot. Cyan, that bumpkin just called you an idiot. Snicker, how dare you? Apologize to me at once. Sorry. That wasn't sincere at all. Bow down and show some respect. Aren't we the same age? Why do I need to bow to you if you aren't older than me? Do you think age matters? Just because your surname is Lionheart doesn't mean we're equals. Cyan, the carriage. Oh, right. Hey. Go and clean the carriage you arrived in. The seats must stink from the stench of your body odor. Nina, you're my personal maid, right? Yes, Mr. Eugene. Then go clean the carriage I came in. Pardon. Oh. But, I told you to clean it. How dare you tell your servant to do it when I'm ordering you, specifically? Are you ignoring my orders? I'm Cyan Lionheart. Aha, and I'm Eugene Lionheart. Let's be friends. I'm CL Lionheart. I don't intend on being friends with the likes of you. You've deliberately ignored my orders, and you've also insulted me. I challenge you to a duel. I challenge you to a duel. Goodness me. Look, pal. You shouldn't challenge people to duels that easily. So can you just leave me alone? Are you scared? You're scared to have a duel with me, aren't you? Then bow your head and apologize. I'm not scared. I just don't want to duel with you or apologize. You don't want to do this or that. Aren't you just running away? Your parents must not have taught you what honor means. What are you doing? You asked for a duel. Throw down your handkerchief. Has this bastard been training with those weights all this time? I thought he put those on just for show, but I'm the one who challenged him to a duel. If I back out of this now, CL will make fun of me for the rest of my life. I'll have to punish him to reclaim my honor. Eugene Lionheart. I hereby challenge you to a duel. I accept. Q. I win. Cyan. Are you alright? Blue. Retreat, you coward. That was not an honorable duel. What was cowardly? The duel starts as soon as the challenger throws down the handkerchief. It's his fault for letting his guard down. That's true, but you've been training with mana, haven't you? No, I haven't. Distant relatives aren't allowed to train with mana before the blood confirmation, remember? Liar. There's no way you could swing your spear with those heavy weights without training with mana, and your attack just now was so fast that my brother wouldn't have been able to react in time even if he hadn't let his guard down. Looks like someone's eyes aren't just for decoration. You have a foul mouth. I've been hearing that for quite some time. Give your brother some credit. It's not like he got beat up without putting up a fight. The moment my spear reached him, he instinctively stepped backward to reduce the damage he'd take. Since he's probably still inexperienced, that's pretty impressive. He's definitely got potential in his future. But as a descendant of Bermute, he's pathetic. How dare you do this to me? Why, you were a coward. I guess you two really are twins since you both say the exact same things. If you really are a direct descendant of House Lionheart, shouldn't you admit your defeat honorably after having lost a duel? Arg, maybe I should have held back. Now they're gonna give me hell for beating up someone from the main family. Did I just step in some sh*t? Young Master Cyan. I don't see the lion's emblem on his chest. He must be a knight hired by the main family, and a pretty skilled one at that. Hezar, I lost to that country bumpkin. I challenged him to a duel, but lost a duel. My apologies for not introducing myself yet. My name is Hezar. I'm young Master Cyan's personal instructor. Pleased to meet you. I'm Eugene Lionheart from Giddle. If you're from Giddle, you must be a part of Mr. Gerard's family. That's correct. He's my father. What exactly happened here? Cyan picked a fight with me. He also insulted my father. No, I didn't. He said that my father failed to teach me what it means to be honorable, and called me a coward. So Cyan insulted not just me but also my father. Sir Hezar, is that not enough reason for me to accept the duel? Your reasons are certainly valid, young Master Cyan. Why don't we treat your injuries first? Well then, Mr. Eugene, I hope to see you again. See you later. Bye. Mr. Eugene. Nina. Have you looked into it? Yes. Mr. Deacon, Mr. Hanson, and Mr. Jules will be arriving by noon tomorrow. Mr. Gargus and Ms. Desiree are also scheduled to arrive that evening through the warp gates. They're all coming earlier than I expected. That means the blood confirmation will be starting soon. Bermute, I'm about to start screwing over your descendants. No hard feelings, right? I mean, it's not like I chose to become one of your descendants. It's just my blasted reincarnation. So, you mean to tell me that my son Cyan challenged a distant relative brat and lost? Anisilla, the second wife of Jalad Lionheart. Yes, my lady. Cyan, come here. So you lost in a single strike? Mother, it hurts. Stay still. Hezar, are you sure that boy has never trained with mana before? That's correct, my lady. Mr. Eugene, the son of Mr. Gerard, did not have any mana in his body. CL, how exactly did your brother lose? Eugene thrust his spear the moment the duel began. Cyan was alarmed and tried retreating backward, but Eugene's spear was faster, so that was how the victor was decided in a single strike. Mother, what the hell were you thinking challenging that brat to a duel and then losing in front of those lowly scum? What's worse is that boy was your age and has never done any mana training before. Your father will return very soon for the blood confirmation. How are you going to face him? You just gave that wench Theonis another reason to sneer at me now. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, Mother, Hezar. Yes, my lady. If I could, I'd kill you with my own hands, but I know my husband favors you as a knight. Retrain Cyan. And make sure he never disgraces me again. Yes, my lady. Take him away. Phew. CL. Yes, Mother. That boy was named Eugene, right? I want you to get close to him. Why? That boy is already strong enough to defeat your brother. I wish I could just kill that brat right now. But then people would suspect me first. Besides, if a feud occurs within House Lionheart, the guardians of the family code will be dispatched here. That's something I must avoid at all costs. So it's best to get along with that boy. Yes, Mother. I want to get to know him better too. I'll get closer to Igana. The next day, the remaining 3 distant relatives arrived at Lionheart Manor. Jules, age 10, Deacon, age 11, Hanson, age 14, and Mr. Eugene. Oh, Nina. They're all here. Oh, the other 2 distant relatives are here too? They must have arrived earlier than expected. Yes, but the head of House Lionheart is here as well. The head of House Lionheart, you should go and greet him right now. And no, you must change your clothes first. Then I'd be late. It's better to just go drenched in sweat. The woman standing between Cyan and CL is Anisilla, the second wife. I'm guessing the one standing in front of her is Theonis, the lawful wife. And that kid must be the eldest son of the main family and thus the first in line for succession. Yodi Lionheart Jalad Lionheart, and the guy following behind must be Gilead's younger brother, Gion. Jalad, the head of House Lionheart, has 2 younger brothers. His first younger brother, Guilford, lives in Lionheart Manor even after getting married, and the youngest brother, who's still a bachelor, left Lionheart Manor with Jalad. They've finally returned after 3 years. It would have been nice if you'd let us know you were coming beforehand. I'm returning to my own home as head of the family, so why bother? Yodi, look how much you've grown. Have your combat skills grown too? I'm doing my best to meet your expectations, Father, as this Cyan and CL. I almost didn't recognize you too. Children really do grow up so fast, don't they? We've missed you, Father. Guilford, I heard you have a son now. I'm sorry I wasn't there to celebrate that blessed moment with you. You're too kind, Jalad. And these children must be distant relatives. Let us feast together. We can discuss the details of the blood confirmation. Gargus Desira. Those 2 arrived together with Lord Jalad through the warp gates. They must be from the 2 high-ranking families amongst the distant relatives of Lionheart. And who the heck is that guy? I thought only the head of House Lionheart and the participants of the blood confirmation were joining the meal. Father, may I ask who that guest is? I was actually planning to introduce him a little later. That's fine with me, my lord. Hello, boys and girls. My name's Rovarian, and I'm from the Red Magic Tower of Aroth. Rovarian? The Master of the Red Magic Tower. Oh, my. Are you alright? Ah, yes. I'm fine. The Master of the Red Magic Tower. That means he's Senya's apprentice. The apprentice of Senya's apprentices, to be asked. 3 centuries ago, Senya became the youngest person in the history of Aroth to be instated as the Master of the Green Magic Tower. She completely rewrote Aroth's official grimoires, and generously gave her advice and teachings on magic to not only the apprentices of other magic towers but also the masters. The masters of the Green and Red Magic Towers follow the teachings of Senya the Wise as their Grand Master to this day. I wouldn't have guessed I'd meet someone associated with my old comrade here. Your name's Eugene, right? Theonis told me that my son insulted you and your parents. Yes, he did. But I don't hold any grudges, because you won the duel. I'd do the same even if I had lost, my lord. If I'm not strong enough to defend my own honor, it's only right that I endure the shame. You're more mature than my son. Cyan. Yes, father. I'm not ashamed of your defeat. However, it is disappointing that you're gauging my reaction when you are the one embarrassed by your defeat. The duel started with your insult. Yet apparently, you haven't apologized to Eugene even after the duel. That's because, Cyan, you bear the name of Lionheart. Bermute the Great is your ancestor. If you've inherited his blood, you must learn to not only respect your own honor, but your opponent's as well. I'm sorry, I can tell you're forcing those words out of your mouth, punk. Eugene, Was your father's name Gerard? I'm sorry to say this, but I don't believe I know your father. Understandably so, my lord. Even I think that my family lives too deep in the countryside. Did your father teach you how to fight? He taught me the basics, but I trained on my own afterward. He trained without a tutor. How is it possible for him to beat Cyan with those amateur skills? I have a feeling this year's blood confirmation will be very interesting. I do hope the food is to everyone's liking. I'm sure you're all famished, so eat up. As I mentioned earlier, the reason why I wanted us to have a meal together this evening was so that I could explain the details of the blood confirmation. I know it's strange coming from me as the head of this house, but I personally believe the blood confirmation is a very biased tradition. This tradition was established solely for the main family's benefit. Distant relatives are forbidden to wield real weapons, nor are they allowed to train with Eta mana before the blood confirmation. Considering these limitations, it's impossible for them to defeat members of the main family during the blood confirmation. 3 of my children will be participating in this year's blood confirmation. With that said, I wish to test the potential of not only my own children, but also the rest of you who bear the name of Lionheart. The purpose of the blood confirmation is to prove that you are the descendants of Bermute the Great. It doesn't matter whether you're from the direct lineage or not. Bermute, apparently, your descendant is a nicer man than you. That is the reason why I have decided to request outside assistance this year. So he called me here, boys and girls. For this year's blood confirmation, you'll be exploring the maze I've created. Each person will enter through different starting points. And the goal is to defeat the chief monster at the heart of this labyrinth. Of course, you'll first need to pass through countless traps and fight various monsters to get there. Keep in mind that all the events that happen within this space are illusions created with magic. Everything you will experience in the maze is not reality but your mind playing tricks. In other words, it's merely a realistic interactive experience. Sounds like he mixed in not only summoning magic but also some high-level mind magic as well. Just what I'd expect from the master of a magic tower. The moment any one of you 9 defeats the chief monster, the blood confirmation will immediately conclude, and each person will receive scores based on their performance. Sir, is it alright if we don't manage to escape the labyrinth? Absolutely. If you're scared, you can stay at the entrance without moving at all. It's just that you won't get a good score. What will we get if we defeat the chief monster? I'll let you choose one thing to keep from the main family's underground treasury. Whoa. That sounds amazing. Since I'm gonna win the blood confirmation anyway, I might as well think about what to take from the underground treasury. Did you win a duel against Cyan Lionheart? Yep, if that's all you have to ask, I'm off. Huh? Why are those 2 still standing there? HRRGH. Is he a moron? You're free to touch if you want. Ban thanks, but no, my family has a secret muscle growth potion. This potion allows you to accelerate the growth of the muscle that you're training without accumulating mana within your body, and there are no side effects. Are you interested? So you're here to sell drugs? No side effects, my ass. That potion will make you grow a beard whether you're a man or a woman. I heard you used a spear while dueling Cyan. So why are you using a wooden sword now? I use both. Are you saying that you're proficient with any weapon? I specialize in the spear. Let's have a spar with spears. Well, I'd rather fight her than this idiot who's trying to sell me muscle growth drugs. Besides, I'm curious about the strength of distant relatives from high-ranking families. Fine. What are you doing there? I'm the referee. It may be a sparring match, but it must be fair. He seriously reminds me of a certain moron I used to know. Could he be a descendant of Marone? You may begin once I say, start. Alright, I get it. So start already, moron. I'll show him that the spear isn't to be taken lightly. Start. The one who strikes first wins. Ah, he has no opening. What are you doing? Come at me. Arg, Hia, Q. Even though she isn't using mana, her skills are quite impressive. She also has great potential to grow in the future since she's still pretty young. But she's no match for me yet. How can you not land a single hit? Shut up. He can fend off all my blows without even moving from his spot? That arrogance will be his downfall. I bet he can't block from this side. Ha! The victory goes to Eugene Lionheart. We must join forces. Did you seriously come all the way here and wake me up just to say that? I'd like to hear your response. Didn't you hear what Lord Jalad said about the blood confirmation earlier? How are we supposed to join forces when each of us will be entering from different points? We may start at different locations, but our destination is the same. The center of the labyrinth where the chief monster is. The twins from the main family will be working together too, after all. So basically, you're saying we should all meet at the center and fight the chief monster together? Yes. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to take it down on my own. You're such a snob, but you're strong. We'll definitely be able to defeat the chief monster with your help. Why do you want to kill it so badly? Not once in the history of House Lionheart's blood confirmation has a distant relative ever won. But this time, we have a chance. There's me and Gargus, and the one who beat Cyan. You. Don't you want to beat the main family? Aroth's master of the Red Magic Tower was invited to the blood confirmation this year. It's quite possible he came to take Yodi as his apprentice. From a young age, Yodi was always more interested in reading books than engaging in combat. His curiosity for magic also led him to learn various spells. If Yodi becomes the apprentice of the master of the Red Magic Tower, he would have no choice but to leave Lionheart Manor for a while. While he's gone, Cyan and Ciel will enhance their skills further. And if that happens, it would mean that Yodi has practically given up his right to succession as the head of House Lionheart. The problem is this blood confirmation. My children will be labeled as illegitimate their entire lives. Regardless of that, I was able to secure their positions because I stood strong. But to be defeated by some distant relative child, it would be better for that boy named Eugene to break through the labyrinth first. If his skills prove to be so exceptional that he ends up humiliating everyone from the main family, then there's a chance Cyan's defeat will be overshadowed. And so 3 days later, the blood confirmation finally began. Before we begin, let's make your weapons. Now, I want each of you to mold the light while envisioning the type of weapon you want. Wow. But what happens if it breaks? Haha, since both the labyrinth and the weapons are made from magic. The sword you're holding right now will never break while you're inside. Can I make an animal instead of a sword? You can make a stuffed toy, and a golem is possible as well. But you can't make living creatures. Why can't we create anything living? That's the taboo of magic. The creation of life is a wonderful gift that only living beings possess. Oh, this was my favorite greatsword back at my house. But this time, it's a real sword. It's amazing how I was able to create it just like I imagined. Who even asked? What will you do if you meet me in the labyrinth? Are you going to fight me? Are we allowed to fight each other? Of course you are. Competition is what this blood confirmation is all about. But this year, I'll also be looking at your teamwork and how quick your judgment is. After all, we're all family with the same Lionheart name. Family, what's with her? It's disturbing. Alright, has everyone finished making their weapons? If you have, please put this around your neck. That necklace is connected to your mind. It will react if you experience any severe stress inside the labyrinth. If that happens, I will judge if the situation is dangerous enough to intervene. So it's a safety mechanism just in case something happens. And if you feel that you really won't be able to make it through the labyrinth, tap the gem on your necklace and shout, "Help me." Doing so will allow you to escape the labyrinth safely. Alright, that's it for explanations. You may all enter the cave together now. Remember, you may be entering through a single gate. But the moment you're inside, each of you will appear at different starting points. Good luck. Yeah, you too. I explored plenty of labyrinths in my past life. The ceiling's blocking the top. Space is constricted since there are walls on both sides. It's gonna be tricky to use a long weapon here. And that's exactly why I chose a sword and shield. I can get through most situations with this standard combination. It's pretty obvious this labyrinth is gonna be easy. Since it's made for kids. Here I go. Ah. Help me. Please help me. Within an hour after the blood confirmation began, 3 people were disqualified. Go and rest, yes, my lord. Keek. He. Gra. Gargus may be a little clumsy, but he's pushing forward strong. He's not having much trouble taking down the monsters he meets along the way. It's tricky to fight slimes with blades. I should get out of here as soon as I see a chance. Desiree is swift and has good instincts. She avoids unnecessary combat with the monsters and prioritizes getting through the labyrinth. Just before the blood confirmation, Mother handed me a blueprint of this labyrinth. Since Ciel and I studied it and came up with various strategies, there's no way we'd fall into such an obvious trap like this one. Fumble nice Cyan is overly cautious. But it's his prudence that helps him avoid traps. That's not half bad. A dead end? I guess I'll go back to that forked path again. Ciel has sharp instincts and is creative. But she's still naive and tends to act like a child. Incredible. I can't believe this monster's made from magic. Whoa. Yodi seems to show great interest in magic. Yodi has loved magic ever since he was a toddler. I even invited a private magic tutor from the capital just for him, but one day, he refused to learn it anymore. Why is that? He gave up to face reality. He decided to live up to his mother's expectations and become the next head of House Lionheart. After all, magic isn't an advantageous ability when it comes to vying for succession. I understand. The path of magic may open one to infinite possibilities, but it is an arduous one. But I do hope that Yodi follows the path of magic. If Yodi still has a yearning to learn magic, he won't be able to turn down the offer of becoming your apprentice. I can't give you an immediate answer. I will bring him along for the sake of our friendship, but if I think that Yodi doesn't have enough potential, I cannot take him as my apprentice. Of course. I have no intention of making such unreasonable demands. All I wish is to help that boy pursue his dreams. As a matter of fact, Yodi has more respect for Senya the Wise than his ancestor, Bermute the Great. The same goes for me. In Adventures of the Great Warrior Bermute, I enjoyed the tales of Senya the Wise more than stories of Bermute. Every time her comrades were in danger, she would come up with an amazing solution with her magic. I also read that storybook all throughout my childhood. To be frank, my favorite character in that story was neither Bermute the Great nor Senya the Wise. Then who did you like, Lord Jalad? My favorite character was What's Wrong, my lord. Do you see that? Graur. Who in the coin's thief world is that boy? Incredible. That's Eugene Lionheart. He's incredible, isn't he? That 13-year-old boy should have no experience fighting a troll, but instead of freezing in terror, he boldly incapacitated it with a clean slash. I didn't place that troll there for them to fight. It's meant to test if they can find an opening to run away. I actually made that troll bigger than a real-life one. But to think that he killed it so easily, he may be a child. But it's still possible if he has natural-born talent, isn't it? You know what we call children like him, right? A prodigy. Gra. I can't believe it managed to cut through my amazing muscles and even break my ribs. Trolls are strong, indeed. Not only did I get caught in various traps, but I also fought a troll. Considering all these injuries, I doubt the others are faring well. Wait, is that a troll? Why did a mid-sized monster appear out of nowhere? I bet this monster wasn't placed here for us to battle with. It worked. Cyan. CL. We managed to meet even though we started at different spots. That probably means we're that much closer to the heart of the labyrinth. This works out perfectly, CL. As long as you follow me, you won't get lost here. Okay, got it. A few days ago, that scumbag Eugene embarrassed me in front of CL. This is my chance to restore my tarnished honor. Cyan. What is it? I've got all the answers. If this labyrinth is an illusion, that must mean any monster can appear, right? Well, of course. Why ask the obvious? Even ghosts, for example. HHMPH. Don't tell me you're scared of things like ghosts. Don't worry. No matter what monster emerges, your big brother here will take care of them all. Kaya. Desiree. How dare you scare me? I was even more scared. You're the one who suddenly screamed out of nowhere. What's all that blood? You were planning to launch a surprise attack after scaring me, weren't you? This is because I got injured from a trap. Tisk, my ambush failed. Huh? Cyan, she's running away. Damn it. I ended up looking like an idiot again because of that brat. She'll pay for this. Let's chase after her, CL. I can't beat them 2 against 1. Where the heck is Gargus? That musclehead's supposed to back me up. A trap. The floor caved in. The other side is pretty far. Do I need to take a detour? No. I can't disgrace myself more in front of CL. I was saving this for the chief monster later.
But I guess I've got no choice. I have to use mana. Hia, CL, jump over to this side too. I'll catch you. I expect nothing less from my little sister. Let's keep chasing after her, CL. Okay. And so Cyan, CL, and Desiree. Continued their cat and mouse game. Until they finally arrived at the heart of the labyrinth. That's the chief monster. Did the 3 of you come together? What are you doing here? I was waiting to see who'd get here first.
You were waiting to see who got here first? Wouldn't that be you? Correct. Since you waited after arriving at the heart of the labyrinth, I take it that you accepted our proposal. To team up with me and Gargus to defeat the chief monster, right? Oh, that's right. You guys did say something like that, didn't you? But no. I'm just letting you all have a go at it first. You see, it'll only take me a matter of seconds to defeat that chief monster single-handedly. But if I do that, wouldn't it be a pity for you all after struggling to come all the way here? What the hell did you just say? Apparently, this chief monster doesn't attack. Unless you come within a certain range. In other words, it's currently waiting. Why don't each of you approach the chief monster and fight it in the order you three arrived? So it'd be Desira first, followed by Cyan and Ciel. Does that sound fair? So I have to fight that thing alone? It looks like you're pretty badly injured from going through the labyrinth. You're free to give up now if you think you can't win. Who says I'm giving up? Aren't you gonna fight? Oh, I will after the rest of you have your turns. Do you think your turn will even come? I'll kill the chief monster before that. If you do defeat that thing, I'll address you as my lord for the rest of my life. I'll hold you to that. The Minotaur is a monster that always appears in stories dealing with labyrinths. Now that I see it in person, it's humongous. I think it might be larger than the troll I ran into earlier, but despite its colossal size, it's not as aggressive as trolls or ogres. I'm fully capable of handling that monster alone. It probably won't be easy for Desira though, it's huge. I can't believe I have to take this thing down, but I'm not about to back down after coming this far. Hia. Kaya. My spear won't go through its tough hide. I'm gonna die. Huh. I'm gonna die. Why did it toss her away instead of attacking more? Because it's not a real monster. The winner was decided the moment it seized her with its hands. Now it's my turn. I'll show you that the blood of the main family is on a whole different level than distant relatives, that pompous bastard. Does he really think I don't stand a chance against that dumb calf? Watch and learn with your own eyes. That's blade energy. It's a magic force that lets blades sever anything. You need at least 10 years of mana training to use blade energy. Is the gap between us and the main family already this wide? Ew. He can create blade energy at that age. I'm actually impressed. I can't maintain blade energy for very long. But it's enough to slice that monster apart. Huh? What? What's wrong with it? I wish to test all of you who bear the Lionheart name. It doesn't matter whether you're from the direct lineage or not. Could it be that since all this is an illusion created by Rovarian, he made it so that we can't activate mana at the heart of the labyrinth, preventing the use of mana to create blade energy? We'll put both the direct descendants and distant relatives on the same footing. Why the hell isn't my blade energy working? I should still have plenty of mana left. Just come back if you think you're gonna lose. Don't be a stubborn mule and get beaten to a pulp. Don't make me laugh. You think I can't beat this goddamn monster without blade energy? Hia. I won't be able to take it down by merely making light grazes. I have to aim for its legs. It worked. It blocked with its knee. Huh? Ah. Looks like you've lost too. Next up is, I don't want to fight. You can't even use blade energy in the center of the labyrinth. Oh? She's smarter than her brother. Do you think you can win? Actually, I'm not so sure if I can even lose. So, how should I go about this? That area he's focusing on is the carotid artery. Huh. I killed it. Don't act like you're all that strong. That monster would have been nothing if I could have just used blade energy. I'm sure I would have been able to kill it somehow. But not as neatly as that bastard did just now. What I'm feeling right now is different from fear. My heart won't stop racing. What exactly is this emotion? Oh. The blood confirmation is over. Haha, wasn't that amazing? That boy. That distant relative hasn't even trained with mana. Yet he managed to kill that Minotaur with such overwhelming force. He certainly did. That Minotaur isn't a monster that can easily be taken down alone.
That's why I've emphasized teamwork for this blood confirmation. The goal was to get the children to cooperate, test out different strategies, and defeat it as a team. That's why I designed the monster that way. Yet that boy didn't just sail through the traps, he even slayed the monsters like it was nothing.
Who exactly is he? Apparently, that boy named Eugene has done nothing but train like a Spartan. Ever since he arrived at Lionheart Manor, I sent someone to his hometown, Duel, to find out more about him. And his dogged tenacity is also well known there. That boy was born to fight. His combative nature matches his physical abilities. Discovering a gem like him makes this blood confirmation worthwhile. But are you not disturbed? Pardon me for saying this, but that boy's ability far exceeds that of your own children. With this big of a difference already. I can't imagine how much stronger he'll become once he trains with mana, then that's all the more reason to rejoice. He'll uplift the Lionheart name and bring it more honor, will he not? What will you do if that child reveals his ambitions? To become the next head of House Lionheart. The head of House Lionheart must be succeeded by the greatest of all Lionhearts. If my own children aren't able to secure their places, then it is what it is. If they are so weak that they are incapable of defending the right that's been given to them at birth, it means they aren't worthy of becoming the head. My apologies. I probably shouldn't have overstepped as an outsider. But Lord Jalad.
As a longtime acquaintance of yours, allow me to offer a word of advice. It might be best to adopt that child as your son. Adopt him. Yes, a child of your distant relatives just bested the main family members in the blood confirmation. That alone is enough for the relatives to look down upon the main family. There's also a chance that some of them will try to create a faction. I appreciate your advice. An adoption, it's a very tempting proposition. But first, congratulations are in order.
Yodi couldn't even reach the heart of the labyrinth. Although, it did seem to be because he was distracted by the various magic and monsters along the way. Nevertheless, even though he was supposed to prove himself in the blood confirmation, it's disappointing to see how his curiosity about magic made him lose track of his purpose. In comparison, Cyan and Ciel managed to get past the traps and monsters without much trouble. They weren't able to defeat the Minotaur. But that's only because they lack experience, which can be supplemented through further training in the future. Well done, everyone. I've watched each of you go through the labyrinth from here. I thought it would be an extremely difficult test, but you've all performed outstandingly. Eugene. Yes, my lord. Among the 9 participants of the blood confirmation, you were the most exceptional. Thank you, my lord. I was truly impressed by how you overcame the traps and monsters. Especially when you faced the troll in head-on combat without suffering even the slightest injury. Was he really able to fight against that vicious troll unscathed? How is that even possible with that frail body of his? What a shame. If he had taken some of my family's muscle growth potions, his body would have been even stronger than it is now. To be honest, I thought you'd be wandering inside the labyrinth for at least 2 days. But it seems that I've underestimated everyone. They may be young, but they are still descendants of Bermute the Great. It's always a delight just to be able to see young children shine with such promising talent. You may all go back to your rooms and rest. I wish I could hold a grand banquet tonight, but I wasn't able to make preparations since I didn't expect everyone to come out of the labyrinth this fast. So why don't you all rest up today and enjoy the feast tomorrow? Rovarian, could you please take the children back first? Of course, my lord. Elagine, come with me. Are you going to give him the reward now? There's no reason to put off an exciting event like this, is there? The underground treasury. I've begged father countless times for years. But not once has he ever brought me there. You seem to be quite proficient in handling various weapons. You flatter me, my lord. It's not flattery. You used a sword and shield to defeat the monsters of the labyrinth. But you wielded a spear when dueling against Cyan and Desiree, so he also knows about my duel with Desiree. I guess it's not that surprising since he is the head of the house, after all. Currently, the weapon that symbolizes House Lionheart is the sword. But our ancestor, Bermute the Great, was able to wield all types of weapons with high proficiency. That is the reason why he was called the god of combat in the Allmaster. But Bermute wasn't the only one who wielded various weapons with great expertise. His comrade, Hamel, was also a master of weapons, second only to Bermute. Ahem. But in the storybook I read, he's called Hamel the Foolish. Haha. I read that book as a young boy as well. But if not for Hamel's mischief, that would have been one boring storybook. To be honest, Eugene, I personally liked Hamel more than Bermute. Why? Let's just say that I identified more with Hamel's human qualities than the godlike perfection of Bermute. Wasn't that quite apparent in the book? Hamel felt inferior to Bermute countless times. But not once did he fall into despair. Rather, he tried even harder to overcome his weaknesses, and ultimately, he sacrificed himself for his comrades. The storybook does tend to explicitly highlight moral lessons like that. But still, he's mine too. Hamel is also my favorite character. I could get used to this feeling. You're the first person aside from the head of House Lionheart to visit the treasury. Is it really alright for me to go inside? Of course. Didn't I promise to give you one thing you wanted? I've already discussed this matter with the elders of the council. The council. The old lions of House Lionheart. It's a group that's made up of the former heads of House Lionheart, including distant relatives with great prestige. What's inside the treasury, my lord? You'll find heirlooms that have been collected over the past several centuries. We even have some that belong to Bermute the Great. Then is the holy sword there as well? It is, but I cannot give that to you. Since the holy sword is the symbol of House Lionheart, it cannot be owned by one particular person.
Well, that's a shame. But that's not the only reason. No one has ever been acknowledged by the holy sword since Bermute the Great. Acknowledged. You'll understand what I mean when you hold the sword yourself. Well then, go ahead. Are you not coming with me, my lord? I shall wait for you here. I want you to be able to choose what you really want. My presence would deter you from doing so. Thank you for being considerate of me. Let's see, I guess I'll try out the holy sword first.
The holy sword has existed in the Holy Empire of Uras since the Age of Myth. It was a sword gifted by the gods. For eons, this holy sword was sealed in the central temple. And Bermute was the only one it acknowledged as its master. 3 centuries ago, this sword impaled the heart of the Demon King of Carnage, the 5th highest entity in Helmud. After that, it was mostly used as a torch. URRRGH. It won't budge. Well, even if I managed to pull it out, I wouldn't be allowed to keep it anyway. I should just give up on the holy sword and look for something else. That's Asphal, the predatory sword. Asphal, the predatory sword, absorbs the mana of whatever it strikes. It can slice through powerful spells with a single slash. Yet the reason why Bermute was able to wield Asphal properly was because he was also an excellent mage. That means I won't be able to handle it at the moment. I also see other weapons that look familiar. Carbos, the draconian spear, takes some time to heat up, but it can shoot forth flames as powerful as dragon's breath. Winneth, the Stormblade, is a sword blessed by the Wind Spirit King. For Noah, the Thunderbow, targets the opponent with thunderbolts regardless of distance. Jabal, the Flying Sword, breaks into hundreds of pieces and works like a whip when imbued with mana. The Shield of Geddon sends all attacks into the void. Since they're all amazing weapons, I know I won't regret taking any of them, but is this it? I don't see the Moonlight Sword or any enchanted spears, but then again, it has been 300 years. Some bastards must have taken all the overpowered weapons. Which one should I choose? Winneth does seem to be the obvious choice for now. I can wield the Wind Spirit just by holding it. And by accumulating enough mana, I can even summon the Wind Spirit King directly. Spirit magic is tricky to learn though. Even skilled magicians aren't able to control low-rank spirits if they aren't particularly talented. But that no longer becomes a problem once you wield Winneth. Since I'm inside the treasury anyway, I might as well look around a bit more. So there are jewels and accessories too, not just weapons. This is the necklace I had in my past life as Hamel. It belonged to my parents who were devoured by monsters. I had avenged their deaths a long time ago. Regardless, I wore that necklace until my death. What's this doing here? Did Bermute bring my dead body out of there? I guess they didn't just leave me. Bermute made a pact with the Demon King of Incarceration. By doing so, the world entered an era of peace. But Helmud and the 2 remaining Demon Kings still stand strong. Bermute, Senya, Marone, Annis, and I swore to take down those 5 Demon Kings together. Just what kind of deal was made? They went through the trouble of placing my heirloom here but decided not to keep our pledge? Bermute, just what were you thinking? This might actually be my fault. Maybe they didn't have enough power because I died. I don't want to resent Bermute and the others. They must have had a solid reason for not killing the Demon Kings. There are many weapons inside this treasury that I want. I don't want to leave this necklace. Hamel's heirloom, in the underground treasury of Lionheart. That is your choice. I like it. Is that truly your choice? There should have been plenty of amazing treasures besides that. I judged that I wasn't powerful enough to handle many of them yet. May I see that for a moment? Yes, my lord. It's just a crude old necklace. The gem isn't valuable, and its craftsmanship isn't very elegant. It's just an ordinary, cheap necklace. Why was something like this inside the treasury? That's strange. This necklace isn't even registered in the treasury. This isn't a treasure of House Lionheart. It's not supposed to be in there, but it certainly was. This necklace has no value. If you sell it, you won't even be able to buy yourself a cheap long sword. Do you still want this necklace, regardless? Yes, my lord. I guess it can't be helped if you really want it. However, Since we don't know where this came from, I'll have to ask Rovarian to take a look at it and assess its value. Who knows? There's a chance it may be an enchanted item. May I have it after it's been assessed? Yes, I promise. I didn't expect something like this to happen. Eugene, strictly speaking, what you brought out of there isn't a treasure of House Lionheart. So go back inside and choose one more item. Really, my lord? That's right. Choosing one treasure from the treasury. Was what I promised you originally, was it not? Thank you. He's so generous. I can't believe he's a descendant of Bermute who was always so stingy. In that case, there's no reason to hesitate anymore. Wynneth, the Stormblade. You're mine now. Why didn't you pick a spear? You're so good with it. It was my choice. Besides, I'm good with the sword too. Ah. I hate you. It looks far too light. With your strength, a hammer or axe would have been more suitable. I said it was my decision. Now that the blood confirmation is over, would you like to come visit my family? I'll provide you with as many muscle growth potions as you need. I said no thank you already. Just ignore this musclehead. So let's see that amazing sword of yours. What kind of sword is it? It's Wynneth, the Stormblade. According to Lord Jalad, this sword is instilled with the blessing of the Wind Spirit King. Apparently, I'm able to summon spirits after training with mana. It's an impressive sword. But I still would have chosen a spear instead. I did see quite a few spears there. Then did you also see Carbos, the draconian spear? I was told it shoots out dragon's breath with each thrust. I don't even know what that looks like. What about Ruinous, the enchanted spear? That's the strongest weapon Bermute the Great ever used. I've heard of Ruinous too. It's a spear that the Demon King of Brutality used. No one asked you. The Demon King of Brutality, 3 centuries ago, there were 5 Demon Kings in the demonic city of Helmud. The first in rank was the Demon King of Apocalypse. The second was the Demon King of Incarceration. The third was the Demon King of Frenzy. The fourth was the Demon King of Brutality. And the fifth was the Demon King of Carnage. Actually, you're wrong, Desira. The strongest weapon to ever be used by Bermute the Great was Gygalas, the pulverizing hammer that once belonged to the Demon King of Carnage. The Demon King of Brutality is stronger than the Demon King of Carnage. The ranks of the Demon Kings don't determine how strong the weapons are. Come to think of it, I didn't see the pulverizing hammer either. Out of all the weapons that Bermute wielded, the enchanted spear and the pulverizing hammer were the only ones previously owned by Demon Kings, since they're too omen oozed to be kept within the treasury. It's quite possible they've been sealed away someplace else. The enchanted spear's stronger. No, the pulverizing hammer is. Give me a break, kids. Actually, both weapons are so powerful that it's hard to determine which one is more superior. But if you asked M. Epsilon to pick the finest weapon within Bermute's arsenal, I'd tell you without a moment's hesitation that it's the Moonlight Sword. It is a manifestation of destruction that was sealed even in the demonic city. Both the Demon King of Brutality and the Demon King of Carnage were slain by the destructive light of the Moonlight Sword. This is the first time I'm holding a real sword in this life. Huh. What beautiful sword forms. There's absolutely no magic in this necklace. Was this really inside the treasury, my lord? It was. Are you sure that boy named Eugene didn't play a prank on you? There's no reason for him to do that. If I hadn't allowed him to pick another treasure, that boy may have ended up with nothing. Yes, he certainly wouldn't have taken that risk. Why don't I check one more time? Although I've confirmed that there's no magic instilled in this necklace. I will examine this further since I'm curious too. How will you do that? There's a type of magic that can read the memories of mana. It was created by our Grand Master, Senya the Wise. Mana exists basically everywhere in the world. Even most inanimate objects are instilled with mana. So I will try to read the mana memory that remains in this necklace. Alright, go ahead. I don't see anything peculiar. It seems to be about 100 years old. Is this the capital? I see streets. That's where it was purchased. I can't read anything beyond that point. The magic of the treasury must have halted the mana memory within this necklace 100 years ago. Then there's probably no one alive now who remembers where this necklace came from. What will you do, my lord? Since it's not imbued with any magic, I'll give it to Eugene. After all, this is something that Bo Upsilon wanted so much he was willing to give up a treasure. You seem to have taken a great liking to that child. How could I not? That's why. I've decided to take your advice. By my advice, do you mean, yes, I will adopt Eugene Lionheart as my son. Hello Lord Gion. Jian Lionheart. He's the youngest brother of Jalad, the head of House Lionheart. He's an eccentric bachelor who never got married because he apparently joined Jalad on his journeys instead. Pleased to meet you. I'm Eugene Lionheart. Oh, I know who you are. You're that distant relative who defeated the main family during the blood confirmation. Are you here to take me to Lord Jalad? That's right. He intended on sending another knight, but I insisted on escorting you myself. I wanted to meet you personally, Eugene. Why me? I heard a lot about you, but I never got a chance to see the actual blood confirmation. This is Bekalai's. Only the head of the house traditionally has the right to see the blood confirmation. Rovarian did watch it too though, but he was there to help. Oh, but don't get me wrong. It's not that I hold any grudges against my brother. I'm just saying that's the tradition. Does that make me sound like I'm complaining about the family rules? Well, it really doesn't bother me. I'm sure it wouldn't bother Jalad either. He's as charming as he looks. With an attitude that screams he's a free spirit. Is that why he's still a bachelor? May I ask why Lord Jalad wishes to see me? I assume he wants to congratulate you for winning the blood confirmation, but he already did. That must mean you don't know why he called me either, sir. Well, it's not like I don't have a hunch. But it's really none of my business. But, I do hope to see more of you. I hope so too. My lord, it's Eugene Lionheart. Come in. His personality is great, but it's a bit much. Pardon me for summoning you so suddenly. Why don't you take a seat first? About this necklace, I asked Rovarian to analyze it. But he says it's just an ordinary necklace. I see. He even read its mana memory. But he wasn't able to detect anything unusual. Mana memory is Senya's magic. Right. I recall her using that once. What did he find out from the memories? According to Rovarian, this necklace was purchased on the streets of the capital about 100 years ago. What? That can't be true. I'm positive this is the same necklace I wore 300 years ago. I had it for decades, so I can't be mistaken. But there's no reason for Rovarian to lie either. Could it be that he misread the mana memory? No. A spell strong enough to dupe a master of a magic tower must have been cast on it. But who would have? Could Bermute have done that? I don't know, but in any case, does that mean I get to keep this necklace? Yes. That is what I promised. You may keep it if you like. Yes. That is what I promised. You may keep it if you like. Thank you, my lord. Ahem. Eugene. I did call you here to give you this necklace. But there's actually another reason. I know this is quite out of the blue, but it's not a bad offer either. In fact, this may be advantageous for your future. Is this what I think it is, Eugene? I'd like to. My lord. I know CL is kind and cute, but it's too early for me to think about marriage. Now it's all starting to make sense. That's why she was acting so friendly even though I beat up her brother. The whole thing was a scheme to get us hitched. Jalad Lionheart. To think that you were devising such a sinister plot behind that kind guise of yours. Not to mention, I'm still too young. I also need my father's permission. And even if he does approve, I'm not sure if I feel that way about CL. Wait. Eugene, there seems to be a misunderstanding. I'm not trying to get you to marry CL. I totally put my foot in my mouth. I ought to crush this brain of mine for getting ideas about marrying a 13-year-old kid. Have I gone nuts after becoming a child again? Then. I called you here because I want to adopt you as my son. Huh? That's a shock too. It is a wise move for him if he wants to tie me down to the main family, though. You want to adopt me? I'm sorry. This is a bit sudden, not as sudden as an arranged marriage. My apologies. If you wish, I'd be willing to take your father into the main family as well. But that means I'd have two fathers. Don't overcomplicate it. It'll just mean that your family will become part of the main family. After all, I am already a father of 3. I'm not trying to take you away from Gerard. I've never met your father in person, but I promise to respect him like my own brother. If I refuse to be adopted, does that mean you won't show my father respect? Of course not. It's a little embarrassing for me to say this myself. But I'm a man of integrity. If you refuse, then I suppose I'd just be disappointed. That's all. I would respect your decision. And wish the best for your future. I don't think this is something I can decide on my own.
I also want to ask what my father thinks. Then let's postpone this to after the banquet.
I shall send an envoy to Giddel and have your father escorted here. Thank you, my lord. Earlier, you mentioned that this may be beneficial for my future. What exactly did you mean by that? If you grew up in the main family, you'd be able to enjoy many privileges. For instance, there are quite a number of exceptional knights here, so they'd be able to train you. If I ever do receive training, I hope to learn from the best. If I agree to the adoption, could you teach me personally? I'm curious to see just how strong the head of House Lionheart is. Of course I could teach you. But if you wish to learn from the strongest, then there's someone who fits that description better. Who would that be? Jian. I used to be stronger in the past, but now he has surpassed me. Really? Him. Has your father taught you how to train with mana? Not yet. I told him I didn't want to learn it yet. I was afraid that if he showed me how, I'd start doing it without realizing it. That's understandable. You've never neglected to train since you arrived at Lionheart Manor. A mana stone is a crystal of mana that can be found inside high-ranking monsters. The general rule is that one needs the help of this mana stone in order to start wielding mana. But as efficient as these mana stones are, they're also difficult to obtain and incredibly expensive. On top of this, guidance from a skilled expert is essential if a beginner wishes to use the mana stone successfully. And all of this is pretty much impossible to do in Gerard's family. His family cannot provide an adequate environment that would allow Eugene's talent to flourish. I can't say this to Eugene and make him resent the family he was born into. This is something that I must discuss with Gerard. I've told you what I want. But if it's all right with you, I'd like to chat with you some more. It would be my pleasure, my lord. I will take my leave, then. I'll call for someone to escort you back, so wait for a moment. That's all right. The guest house isn't too far from here. It'd be nice to take a stroll, so I'll just go back on my own. This smells like perfume. Someone's behind that corner. I don't sense any movement though. Is that person waiting for me? Oh my, Eugene? She's pretending that she wasn't waiting for me. I guess I'll just play along for now.
Oh, greetings, Lady Anisilla. I'm Eugene Lionheart from Giddle. I heard you had a private conversation with Lord Gillade. You two spoke for quite some time.
I didn't know you were still here. Did you wish to say something to me, my lady? What a cocky little brat. His insolence already knows no bounds. It's hardly surprising, though. He's a country bumpkin who won a duel against a child of the main family. And even claimed victory in the blood confirmation. After all, it won't be long before this boy climbs the ranks of the family.
It'd be wiser to be on friendly terms with him instead of becoming his enemy. Besides, it's not a bad idea to tie him down with an arranged marriage to CL.
That's exactly why I had CL befriend him. I'm curious to know what you and Lord Gillade were talking about. I don't think that's something I can tell you since it was a matter discussed in private. Why yes, of course. I wasn't trying to interrogate you. There was actually something else I wanted to talk to you about. So, Cyan greatly offended you a few days ago, didn't he? With the blood confirmation on my mind, I wasn't able to apologize to you. Oh, there's no need. Cyan and I have already come to an understanding on that matter. My. You're very mature and understanding for your age. I'm glad you don't harbor any grudges. I made sure to give Cyan a good warning. So I hope the two of you can get along well from now on. Of course we will. We're family who share the same surname, after all. Family. He's not wrong, but hearing family coming out of his boorish mouth doesn't sit right with me. May I take my leave now? Of course. Sorry for keeping you. Run along and rest up. Anisilla is a lady of House Lionheart. Was she the one behind Cyan's behavior that first day? Because I'm a distant relative. I'd better avoid getting tangled in her schemes.
2 days later, Gerard Lionheart arrived at Lionheart Manor all the way from Giddle. Did Eugene truly win the blood confirmation? My son. Prevailed over the children of the main family. Ever since he was a young boy, I always knew Eugene was extraordinarily gifted. But I wasn't skilled enough to help him spread his wings. I assumed that the blood confirmation would make him realize the harsh reality of life. After all, the rift between the main family and distant relatives
can't be overcome with natural talent or effort. At least, that's what I thought. Father, Eugene, Elegene, my boy, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud to have you as my son. I told you I'd bring you good news.
Before I left Giddle, didn't I? Did you not believe in me, father? Yes, you did say something like that. I'm sorry, Eugene. I should have had more faith in you. Oh, I should have greeted you first. I'm Gerard Lionheart from Giddle. I'm Gillade Lionheart.
My apologies for inviting you so abruptly. I hope you'll pardon my discourtesy. It was not a discourtesy, my lord.
On the contrary, I'm extremely grateful for your invitation. I don't wish to take away your father and son moment. But would it be alright if I had a moment with you inside? It would be my pleasure. You'd like to. Adopt Eugene. Yes, that's right. If Eugene becomes my son, I will also take you in as a member of the main family. I understand this is quite out of the blue, but, forgive me if this is disrespectful, but I must say this. I'm sincerely grateful that you think highly of my boy.
But as his father, I can't help but worry about his future. In what sense? I'm sure you have good intentions. But I'm afraid others in the main family will persecute Eugene. You already have 3 children.
If my son were to be adopted, I'm sure they wouldn't accept him as one of their own. I understand what you mean. I don't wish to restrict Eugene's future, but the main family places great importance on the direct line of descent. And I'm sure the council would never accept having a head of House Lionheart who's a distant relative. Even if Igana were to be adopted, he wouldn't be able to become the head. But as long as he doesn't become too ambitious, I'm sure he'd flourish here while enjoying the privileges that come with the main family. Once he's adopted, Eugene will establish close bonds with my children, and those strong ties will open up greater possibilities for his future. Yes, I'm sure you're right. Please allow me to discuss this with my son first. Father, his expression says that the talk about my adoption came as a great shock to him. Why do you look so troubled, father? Isn't that Wynneth, the storm blade? I was told it was the sword Eugene chose from the main family's treasury. Even if I were to sell everything I own, I'd never be able to afford that sword.
Lord Jalad wishes to adopt you into his family. Yes, I know that. He already told me. I'd like you to become his son. Because I believe that's best for your future. But if you do so, you might face countless hardships later on. I suppose so. But father, you've known me since I was little. I'm not the type who would let anyone get the best of me. Eugene, your name was given to you by me and your late mother. Don't you ever forget that. Of course, father. And even if I am adopted, Gerard Lionheart will always be my only real father. Eugene, so I guess I'm getting adopted, after all. It's going to be a pain in the ass, but I might as well put up with it since there'll be so much to gain. I have no intention of becoming the head of House Lionheart, but I don't think those people will believe me. Both Theonis the first wife and Anisilla the second wife will no doubt be forced to keep me in check. There are 2 ways to deal with those who bear resentment or hostility toward you. You can either ignore them, or destroy them head-on.